Gentlemen, I have 9 o'clock on my computer. I call this Sawyer County Public Safety Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, can we have roll call, please?
Ron Buckholz,
Present.
Mark Helwig,
Yes.
Ed Peters,
Here.
Jason Weaver, Marshall Savitsky.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, number 4, certification of compliance with the open meetings law, Madam Clerk.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Okay, thank you. Number 5, the meeting agenda has been presented. Number 6, public comment. At this time, members of the public will be given an opportunity to address the committee. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less. The committee cannot respond to your comments during this time. Comments should not be directed to one committee member. It should be as a whole. And if you want to talk, please sign and fill out a public comment sheet if you wish to speak. Okay, we have one, Ms. Linda Zilmer. You have 3 minutes, Linda.
Thank you, Linda Zilmer, resident of the village of Birchwood and property owner in the town of Edgewater. And my comment today, I hope, is more along the lines of requesting that when you get to the ambulance agenda item, that the committee be provided an update. This at the Edgewater February town board meeting, I appreciate that Supervisor Buckholz, Chair of the town of Coudray, Jim Bassett, who is also a former county supervisor, and the chair of the town of Sand Lake, Bob Langham, attended the meeting. There's a lot of concern over what's happening with ambulance coverage. And I guess I would appreciate an update at that agenda item as to how ambulance is being dispatched for the town of Edgewater, and hopefully they are dispatching the Birchwood Four Corners. And also, how are towns going to be communicated with when there's a change? And then that's speaking to the issue of, is there or is there not an ambulance in Stone Lake anymore? I know sitting in a previous committee meetings, there was discussion about paying $3,500 a year for some space to have an ambulance there. And yet when I look at the town of Sand Lake, they contribute over $200,000 a year to ambulance service, and they're not even aware that they don't have a manned ambulance or have an on-call ambulance there when that's what they expected. So hopefully that we can get an update as to where those matters are. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. All right, does anybody else out there want to speak in public comment? Lynn, do anybody have their hands up? Okay, thank you. All right, number 7, consider approval of the previous meeting.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Peters and a second by Mr. Helwig to approve. Mr. Savitsky, sorry, getting tongue tied here again today. So, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. All right, number 8. Circuit Court, none of the judges are here. Okay. Is there any updates you want to give us that?
I think you have to see the difference now with that. I think part of that too.
Okay.
But the out of county case loads are starting for them also. So I think Judge Jacqueline is about 10 or 12 right now on the community until 5. So they are being given cases.
Okay, thank you. You guys have any questions for her? No? Number B, courthouse remodel update. Andy?
No real update. I think you can end the updates. Everything is complete. We're wrapping up the financial end now. There's the change orders, or not change orders, the punch list items are all complete. The HVAC is working properly. Floors have been redone. And we're just closing that out now. We'll have a financial update in the next couple of weeks, or probably for next week's finance committee. And as far as the open house, ribbon cutting, not concrete yet, but most likely is going to be on May 16th in the late afternoon before the county board meeting.
Oh, okay. Right, Mr. Oh, okay. All right, number 9, clerk of courts report. Marge, you're up.
Not much other than we're in the middle of tax season, so collections are up a little bit. And yes, the aches and pains of the court system has eased a bit. What has helped us was the judges getting the out-of-county assignments. It's kind of helped give us a little bit of time in office to be able to process the cases that are being handled in with the 2 judges. So, and a lot of criminal court going on with our 2 judges. So
Good, good. All right. Do you have any questions for Marge? Thank you, Marge. Appreciate it. Okay, number 10, Sheriff's Department report. Sheriff, you got anything you want to comment on?
Yeah, I'll start off by saying a couple weeks ago, I think our communities had a very, very successful Berkey. It was an extended week with them spreading the days out or adding days to accommodate that small track. But the Berkey Foundation did an outstanding job of laying out that 10, 11 kilometer track. And it was quite a sight to see. A lot of positive comments and definitely a lot of people in the area. We really did not have much for issues, traffic wise or incident wise. Otherwise, there was a lot of traffic, but it flowed pretty well and we got through the week. The other thing I want to commend the county administration. Administrator Alvarado and his administrative team there did an outstanding job yesterday putting together some courthouse safety issues, and we were involved in giving tours to the new courtrooms and the jail, and we had probably over 70 employees that toured, so I think it was
that's
well
good.
received by all the employees and
Good.
a lot of
Good.
positive feedback, so.
Hey, you guys have any questions for the sheriff? Okay, not. Number A, patrol report, Lieutenant Rapinski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You can see by the patrol report that call volumes have increased now back to where they probably should have been, up to 827 from the previous month of 555. For the month of February, we've issued 38 citations for traffic offenses, 5 written warnings, and 14 non-traffic citations. And per community maps, there have been 17 total crashes, 1 with personal injury, with no additional fatalities in our county, bringing our total crashes to date to 59 crashes, 5 personal injury, and 0 fatalities. We did finalize deputies Ryan Crummell and Paige Waller, who now officially started their patrol shifts as our newest full-time members. We also newly promoted Sergeant Casey Culhane will be shift management on one of the night shift rotations. And Deputy Mike Mayer has cleared field training and is currently working as our primary part-time deputy, both in the jail and on the road. So we offer congratulations to everyone. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Lieutenant. Good report. Anybody have any questions?
Not a question, maybe just a comment to highlight something that just mentioned. Deputy Wooler and Deputy Meyer that have cleared field training and started patrol were sponsors by the county through the academy. And so that's not something that had happened. I don't know, when was the last time before that? It had been
Decades ago.
so kind of as a strategy on recruitment, we've returned to, having a current existing employer, bringing them in as an employee and then sponsoring them to go through the academy and then having a position for them when they're out.
Well, that's good, yes. Good deal. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lieutenant. Okay, number B, jail report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lieutenant Wohler provided a report So our average daily population for February was about 71, a little down from last year. Of that population, 25 females and 46 males. Our average probation incarceration is about 28%. The average pre-sentence is about 41%. And the average sentence incarceration is about 30%. As you can see from the report, we currently have 7 on electronic monitor. What we did was we kind of changed the traditional Huber program. So the traditional Huber program, the inmate would be released from jail, go to work, come back to jail. So now those people are being put on electronic monitor instead of coming in and out of jail. We had a few instances where they brought contraband into the jail, so we decided to switch that up a little bit.
Oh.
So total population of the day report was 68, and I think we were down in the low 60s yesterday when we were doing tours. We are still 2 positions short in the jail, 2 full-time positions. Good news is we have 3 part-timers. We have one that's just finishing up the State Jail Academy, one that's just finished up the in-house training, and one that's just begun the in-house training. So we're catching up on that. That's the end of my report.
Okay. Sheriff, you want to add something to that?
I would just like to add, the contraband brought into the jail was fentanyl and introduced some overdose issues, so letting the board know that that's a pretty serious issue, so hopefully that will really benefit us transitioning here to the electronic monitoring system to keep that out of our jail.
Wow.
I'm just curious, so how's that work with these? I know you guys can't do anything since they're out. So are those individuals now using while they're out? Since they have the ability to get and do whatever they want? I mean,
They're being monitored. I mean, we can see where they are on the computer, actually Justice Point is doing the monitoring for us. And then they're called in occasionally to do random drug screen.
thank you.
Okay, good deal. All right. Any more questions for the chief deputy? Thank you. All right, number C, communication system specialist report.
Hello, thanks, guys.
Can we have your name, please?
Aaron with GenCom. Gentleman. Jenneman, Jenneman. So I was tasked with doing an assessment of the current radio system. I believe that was given to all of you, and you can see there are some issues found. But for the most part, the equipment is in working order. The summary, I guess, speaks for itself. It's the main issue is coverage, and that is just based on site selection and just poor sites being used. Other than that, there are a few things that should be addressed right away, but other than that, it is in working order. Everything's within spec.
So what kind of stuff's got to be addressed? Yes.
So at the Hayward water tank, there's a bad antenna that needs to be replaced. The microwave is mounted in a fashion that in any kind of high wind, it seems it's mounted on a pole and it just waves, which is, it seems to be a reliable link, but it's just, how long on a wooden building will that being mounted, before that,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It should be mounted up onto, you have the access on the water tank anyway. It's not a very big dish. So there's no reason it can't go up there and get realigned.
Okay. So you got a question?
So are you working on those issues? then?
Yeah. So after the assessment, I turn it over and then, I'll have quotes that I can submit to get that repaired.
So are you our go-to guy?
Trying to be.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any more, Sheriff, go ahead.
I would just like to add, and I know we had some communication about this, but when our current system was implemented, the vision or intention was to move towards 80-90% mobile coverage throughout the county. And with law enforcement traffic stops, domestics being the primary issue of concern. They're on portables. Our fire departments in burning buildings are on portables. We definitely need to work towards 95% portable coverage. I think that will also really benefit us on the paging end of it.
Yeah.
And I just want to reiterate the importance of moving forward in the future for that.
Well, that's a great idea. That's very, very important. Yes, it is. That much that way.
I just wanted to ask, at one time you were talking about doing something with, that would be in the vehicle that would push out the vehicles. Is that still in the works or a thought?
And that's something I'm going to refer to the expert down on the end here.
So the squads, I believe currently all have vehicle repeaters. Vehicle repeaters can work in situations, but it just, to be quite honest, they can be a headache as well. But in instances, they can work where, and what it basically does is the portable talks back to the vehicle and the vehicle transmits back out. So they do have their uses, but they're not perfect. When you get multiples on site, they're supposed to hand off, but they don't always seem to do that. So you
Yeah.
get some,
If I might add, those were added a number of years ago after we went to WISCOM as a stop fill to try to alleviate some of the WISCOM issues. We put, Mark Kelsey actually had put them all into the cars, but their usability in the field weren't really the greatest. The idea was good, but when the officers were getting on scene, they would constantly have an audio tone, excuse me, which the system needed to hear that audio tone. So there'd be a constant beeping in the officer's ears or on the radio mic, which is why we then put everyone on earpieces. So there was just too many trade-offs with those and they just didn't work.
yeah,
I guess, effectively.
it's a lot to remember, so you have to turn it on, you press a button on the physical radio, you have to take it, you want to take it out of scan. If they're scanning, you press the button, then you got to get out of the vehicle, then you got to remember to turn your portable to the vehicle repeater channel. And then you got the beeping going on. And when you add all of that in a high stress environment, it's just in practice, it's one of those things where it looks great on paper and it does have its uses, but just the practicality.
So you're gonna just fix the signal issue altogether and we'll be at 100% pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, we have some maps that were ran back in August of last year that I can show you guys kind of what the coverage looks like for portable coverage. Everybody wants portable coverage because everybody's used to, in my opinion, it's because you get younger guys with cell phones and they have coverage everywhere they go. So they want to be able to talk everywhere they go. Most radio systems years ago were all for mobile coverage. But the mapping, it kind of speaks for itself in that you have a couple sites that they're just islands, basically, as long as you're around that site, okay, but they don't really help anywhere else in the county. The big issue would be moving sites, and that would be especially like in Loretta, Draper area, it would be building a tower.
Building a tower.
Building a
there.
tower or renting, but renting is, how, again, that would be another discussion, how you guys want to spend money. Do you want to rent for years or do you just, want to buy one outright and build it? But that would be a big one.
Well, yeah, and the importance to me that is, it's the safety of our deputies and our police officers. That's the number one priority. Because there's so much stuff that goes on there, out there nowadays that these guys have to face, and these women. They need to be protected, and I think we should do what we need to do to make that happen for them. So, Andy, you want to comment?
Yeah, it's kind of dovetailing off of what Aaron just talked about in the sheriff is that it's kind of, I guess my head, it's been the short-term, long-term. Short-term is we've switched providers. They've come in and done the assessment and it's to maximize what we have in place now to make it as good as it can be. Aaron, I have a proposal with the maps. He'll tell you that the current equipment, the Celix system we have is not the best for doing a simulcast. And like he said, the tower sites they've recommended, I think Pipestone's still in there, Hayward's still in there, otherwise everything else is
Yeah.
going to other towers and
Yeah,
so.
so when we did the coverage analysis for basically a replacement radio system, we're not using much of the current infrastructure at all. It would be all new locations just to provide that coverage. The other issue you have here is the Cellix equipment doesn't do linear simulcast, and it's just a type of modulation. And linear is what you need based on the terrain. What linear allows you to do is to have your sites a little bit farther away so that you can still simulcast the signal. That's just what you guys need to do just based on the terrain and the map. And you can't do that with the current equipment.
And there's, I would say sticker shock, it's gonna be a significant cost to get there, which is, I mean, I guess I'm laying this out today, so it's gradual. It's unfortunate because you've been investing into your current system for quite a number of years and you're basically would have to abandon it. We really have, Nicole and I have talked a little bit, just getting a handle. This assessment is really good just to give me background on where all the current sites are. I think there's potentially some grant funding coming from the state, a new program that they're starting that I want to get prepared for, but then come up with a way of how we'll, if we want to make the move, how we're going to pay for it.
Okay, will we need new radio systems,
New, as in new radios?
radios?
No,
Okay.
there'd be nothing you would have to do with
Okay.
the radios. I mean, they're like anything, there's probably some old ones out there that would need to be
Right.
replaced, but
But
wholesale, no, not unless you really wanted to.
it's the infrastructure out
Yeah,
there
it's the
that has to
infrastructure.
be,
It's the stuff that nobody sees.
right,
That's really what it boils down to. And at the end of the day, that's where everything, it's make or break in that. It's the stuff that nobody sees. It's not flashy, it's not cool, but it's what makes it work.
Mr. Savitsky.
Yeah, Aaron, do we have an estimate of how much that would cost to actually have
Yeah, there was
90% coverage, I guess,
There's some
instead of
ballpark
any small
numbers
things?
here. Let me see if I can- Yeah, I think it was 1.3.
Is that what it is? Okay.
They did a little bit of work last year for us to look at system ballpark number. That was, I think, probably not.
Yeah, it wasn't a real detailed, it was more of a, this is kind of, budgetary in a sense.
So is that what included with the tower?
Yeah,
that's putting a new system out there to make
Yep.
it functional.
Yep.
1.3 million.
I believe that's what it was.
roughly, yeah. I mean, prices have increased. The other issue you have with tower steel, that fluctuates, it seems way too often, which you would think steel would, but it does. But at least it gives you an idea of about, you're gonna be somewhere in that $1 to $2 million range roughly is where it's gonna end up falling.
Andy, do you know how much money we have invested into the system we're using now?
I don't actually.
We don't.
There wasn't, I mean, honestly, we've tried to go back and look, but it's not like there was some money set aside and then it just kind of kept whittling away to maintain and add on. Or maybe the sheriff has a better idea.
I think originally it was 300 and some thousand.
It's 400 and something.
Okay. And that's been over the last 8 years.
So my next question is, would that help the southern part of Sawyer County, like out by Connors Lake? Because that's got to be terrible reception out there for you guys if you have to respond out there, ain't it?
It is.
Because that's, there's nothing out there. I mean, there's people out there, but,
Yeah,
and that would work, benefit that area?
yeah, with the
too?
new tower, yeah.
Okay.
You'd have the coverage in there. I mean, we proposed multiple sites. There's a site, Mosaic site in Birchwood that Washburn uses that you guys could also use. Mosaic, it's a Mosaic site. The rent is fairly reasonable. Mosaic doesn't use the tower anymore, so,
Oh,
they're,
so for my last question here, we should clear up my mind. For about 1.5 million, we would probably be about 90% out there with all the new stuff.
yeah,
you put up.
the coverage mapping is done for 95%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're 95% on that. That's it.
Okay. Mr. Peters?
Countywide.
Well, I'd like to start off by thanking you very much for this report. It is such a departure from the information that we have received before in its completeness. And laying out things in a manner that even someone who doesn't use a radio can understand, I think. But I can also be baffled by it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of terms. I tried to minimize it for you.
But, and I'm a particularly, since I'm from the Loretta Draper area, I'm particularly happy to see the confirmation of the concerns that we've had for basically decades out there.
Yeah.
In terms of our ability to be in communication for a variety of reasons, and especially for our sheriff's department and other safety issues that we have, just being able to communicate the way we think we should, and the way actually some people on the fire department who actually had experience with radios knew was possible, but we were just stymied. And I thank you very much, and I would definitely hope that the continuing administration will go forward with this, and I'll be kicking to get that done. So, thank you.
Okay, any more questions for Aaron? All right, thank you. Keep us updated as much as you can on this, through whoever.
At the end of the day, now we're in the phase where it's just maintaining what's currently run. The issue is I can't make it better because the sites are, it sort of is what it is at this point.
Well, you can in a sense because you don't have USBs at a lot of these places, these backup batteries, correct?
We don't, yeah, there's no, but that is true.
That's an upgrade right there that you.
That would be, so,
At a low cost.
yeah, UPS will help it, but that will only give you so much time. Without a generator, if you lose power again, like I mentioned, last winter there. Without generators and things to keep it running for a while, you're only gonna be given hours,
Well, then, and also these electrical cords and,
Yeah,
there are some things.
There are some things that.
You can
yeah,
fix
that can
right
be-
now that
That can be fixed, sure.
are in pretty sad shape that.
Yeah, the Meteor Tower, that one is odd, just because there's no cable management on the tower. And so it's one of those things you'd have to see it to understand it, but it's just, there's lines, some of them are they're taped down. And then the other ones they're just waving, and it bangs into the tower, just, like anything. And eventually that's gonna wear through. And you're gonna have a short, and
Yeah.
you're just asking for trouble.
Yeah, and those are the kind of things that you can work.
Yes, those I can certainly address.
Thank you.
And they're taping them with duct tape?
Oh, I use that Gorilla Tape.
There you go, that's strong stuff. There you go. All right, any more questions for him? All right, thank you, Aaron, appreciate it. All right, number D, code enforcement specialist. Andy, where are we at with that?
No report. We interviewed Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, and offered, we have a couple candidates, and we've offered to one of them.
Okay,
So just waiting to hear back.
okay. All right, any questions on that, anybody? All right, number 11, emergency management communication center report. Cole?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Emergency management update. Like Lieutenant and the Sheriff had said, the Birkebeiner was a success, no major incidents. We worked closely with Bayfield County Sheriff and the emergency management. Currently working with townships and villages, attending their monthly meetings to work on their emergency operations plans to make them cohesive with our county's emergency operations plans. Sawyer County will be hosting an emergency planning course for those who are interested in redoing, fixing, or maintaining their emergency operations plans in October. The flyers attached. For the communication center, like Lieutenant said, our call volume is up slightly. We've had 2 part-time employees who have been offered and have accepted full-time positions to be dispatcher Angela Rue and dispatcher Eric Anderson. We are now down to 2 full-time positions vacant with applications and interviews happening today, actually. We updated our Spillman to a newer version last week, Wednesday. Some minor hiccups with interfacing, but those have seemed to work themselves out for the most part. We're getting new recording software, which is all through the grant, which will be installed in the middle of March. And that's all I have for that.
All right, thank you. Anyone have any questions for Deputy Rapinski? Okay, not, thank you, Nicole. Okay, number 12. Child Support Department. She has a report. Any questions on the report? No? Okay. Number 13, Emergency Services Ambulance Update and Billing. Mr. Fremo.
Everybody's been talking about Berkey was actually really good. Me and Leah took turns doing IC up there to monitor, make sure no major incidents happened. And I think we may have transported 2 people, very minor injuries. We did the training yesterday. Me and Jim did AED training over in the assembly room there. The afternoon class was big. We did a stop the bleed class and also did Narcan training because in the courthouse, we have Narcan kits in the AEDs. So we did a pretty good that. We went over that, how to use them. Maintenance got trained on that, and so did a lot of the other courthouse personnel. We also did, I'm going to be sending out information for CPR courses if people want to sign up for official CPR courses, because I have like 5 instructors that work for the ambulance that go through Northwood. I'm one of them. I'm actually one of the lead instructors for CPR. So if people want to get certified between me and Jim and my other instructors, we can get that done. We're working on getting another bedroom up into the Hayward site and make that so we can have 2 full-time 2 24-hour crews. Right now, it's kind of like 1.5 with the power truck medic, but I'm working on that with Andy. We're going through, looking at it. It's not going to be a cost because we have the crews already. There might be some increase in personnel if it goes to plan, if it works out in the way that we want it to. This last couple weeks, I've been kind of hammered with some high acuity deaths on the EM or the medical examiner side. I got a few meetings on a couple autopsies that I had done coming up here. So the graph doesn't show. We actually got a lot more deaths in the last couple weeks since I did the report. So other than that, everything else I got broken down. We did have a little issue with our reporting software when they did that update. The national and the state did an update at the same time, and that didn't go as smooth as the state wanted it to. So now that's all fixed up. But we also now have a new billing software thing coming through because our billing company got bought out by a bigger billing contractor. So that is a change that we're in the middle of doing right now. So
How are we doing on our transfers?
that's the reason that we're going with that second crew up in Hayward, trying to take what we currently have and making it more efficient and having to. We're doing more transfers. The problem is that we're still not reliable because of the staffing situations.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Speaking of staffing, so does everyone get the opportunity to go on transfers if they want? I see you said that you're getting more area or space in the Hayward area to accommodate this, but like I say, I mean, because that's money in the pocket, of course, right?
Yeah,
So,
and that's why we're trying to, what we want to do is we want to try it out with what we have to make sure that it's going to work and not create a ton of overtime. The whole goal is not to do overtime and to get people that are off duty to want to come in, because that will just alleviate that. Plus, during the summertime, the ambulance is really busy, so you don't want, your 911 crews doing both 911 and transfers at the same time, or else you'll just burn everybody out. So we're trying with that. Everybody that works for Sawyer County as an EMT, we have active 911 on our phones. And every time a transfer comes in, we actually page that out through active 911 to say, hey, is there anybody available, for a transfer from here to here? Because we would rather use an off-duty crew than someone that's going to be there for 24 hours doing 911. And yeah, we hire nurses just to do transfers and stuff like that. So that's kind of the goal. And
how's that working out? Because you had mentioned that before.
it goes good. It works good when they're available.
Okay.
Right. And like I said, we're just once we get more consistent with things, then we'll definitely be hitting the hospitals a lot harder. And the whole goal is not to take away from 911, right? But yet,
Right.
yeah, so 911 is key, cover 911 100%. We're still short a few staff members for full-time. And we did get some applications in, but those were for part-time employees. And I think we got one more nurse a part-time nurse that works for Hayward Hospital that's going to be joining us again, so.
Thank you. You're doing a fine job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So is it Stone Lake Ambulance in Exlin now or what?
We have to wait because Exlin's a fire district.
Yeah.
And so they have to vote, they all have to vote on that to give me permission to put it in there. So I don't know how that works. I'm not a fire person. I don't know what is needed. But Leah's down from Exlin. She knows Dave very well and has been talking to him. And so he's gonna reach out, and the minute that they say yes, I have an ambulance that's already ready to go down in Exlin.
So I know we have a station in Ojibwa.
Yep.
Why wasn't that ambulance, this is just for my information, offered to go to Winter? I mean, it's 5 miles apart, but
Well, I wasn't part of the leadership at that time, so I can't,
The one that's going from Stone to
from
Exlin,
Stone Lake,
yeah,
it's driven by staffing.
yeah,
There's staff in the Exlin area,
yeah,
okay.
the
All
volunteer.
right, yep.
yeah.
That answers
It'd be
my
just like the Round Lake ambulance would be right now.
So that's why it's moving from Stone Lake as a staffing?
That's why it's being discussed, is because there's available EMTs in the Exlin area, like, on call or not, or call in. That
Yeah.
could, great, and that's why, we lost some key people in the Stone Lake area. So that's why that ambulance really isn't up and available, whereas it would be up and available more often in Exlin.
So if Stone Lake, then if that was paged out, then the first responder, the ambulance attendants would have to come in to that ambulance? There's nobody stationed there or what?
Well, at the Stone Lake ambulance?
Yeah,
No, there's never been. It's always been a volunteer.
volunteer thing?
Yeah. Round Lake, Stone Lake has always been volunteer. They've never ever been anything other than that. So the only 2-man stations are Hayward and Ojibwa.
Oh, okay.
So Hayward has technically got 1.5 crews there, and Ojibwa has a crew there, right? The only reason that Ojibwa actually has like 3 people every once in a while is because we got those 36-hour shifts. So we have to put people somewhere when they're on their 12 hours.
So I guess my next question is, John, the reason that you want to put that one in Exlin, it ain't so you can respond to Edgewater faster?
No, I've talked with Exlin a few times. They have a lot of EMTs down there that are.
Yeah, I know they do.
So it just makes sense if there's EMTs in an area,
Yeah,
then we don't have that in Stone Lake, and we lost that part of Stone Lake for Washburn County. So there's no, a large call volume on that was that part of Washburn County. So for Stone Lake Ambulance. Well, now they don't pay, that's North's area now.
Okay.
So
I
now,
mean, I'm just trying to
yeah.
make myself aware of what's
Yep.
going on here.
So the reason is not, would it help? Possibly. I mean, it's a straight shot from Exlin to Edgewater, right? So yeah, in reality, it would be quicker but that's the same thing. It's a volunteer service down there. They'd be they'd be Sawyer County ambulance personnel, which I would love to absorb. And that's one of my things is going down there and anybody who's an EMT that's not working for Sawyer County, trying to get them on board with us and trained up and stuff. That way they can utilize that ambulance, you know? And they do respond. Exlin has really great first responders.
They do.
Respond a lot. They're really quick. I love working with them. They're friendly and they, as far as first responders goes, they're really highly trained for that area. So I'm, you know.
But not
actually
highly trained for this area?
Well,
I just want to, Mike, I do have a question though. So if they move into Exlin, are we gonna have the same or better coverage? I just want to make sure the coverage is still
I'm hoping for better.
taken care of.
I actually think it would be better if we can get those EMTs down there. I mean, I do have EMTs that live down there that work for us, but there's more that are down there that work for other services. If I can get those, it would be a lot better. Because they do respond a lot. They respond to a lot of, you know, as first responders. But if they are going there as EMTs, now we've just increased our coverage a lot.
Go ahead, Andy.
Just to follow up on that first, how often has the Stone Lake ambulance been up
Oh, in Stone Lake?
in Stone Lake right now?
I've pulled that out like last month, but that was because we had that rig that sat at Timber Ford for an extended time because we had a pretty big issue with heating. So
With what, eating?
heating, yeah.
But I mean, we just haven't had the staff in Stone.
No,
Lake.
there's no, when, I don't, like, every time it's been paged, there's like zero response. You
So we're
know,
not getting any use out of it. in Stone
yeah,
Lake.
so, I mean, you could probably go back and see about a dozen times and, you know, unfortunately, we lost a really wonderful guy that, you know, did respond there. And the other EMTs, I mean, they're retired and some of them don't even have their licenses anymore. So, and I'm hoping to fix that with our EMR courses that we're pushing and doing all that kind of stuff. But, you know, the more immediate action, you know, where I can see that there are available people is excellent.
Okay. So my next question, and you got another question?
I want to make sure I got this in so it's straight. You'd asked about, you know, moving it to Exlin to respond to Edgewater. Regardless if it's quicker or not, the town of Edgewater's directive, their choice is that the Birchwood ambulance gets paged and that doesn't change. So I just don't want to complicate things. It's not really a race. Call comes in, dispatch gets it for Edgewater. Informs Washburn County dispatch, they can dispatch the Birchwood ambulance to all calls in Edgewater. That's the direction of the township.
You know, and on this joint powers agreement, probably Nicole or you, I believe Birchwood or Edgewater wants Birchwood to respond. So I guess if that's the joint powers agreement, do they first page Sawyer County? Ain't there a way we can get away from that? So all them Edgewaters, if that's the way it's supposed to be, go to Birchwood? So we don't get called out and have them get called out and we're meeting together?
Well, we go to all calls dispatched in Sawyer County, right? We are an ALS provider. We are a paramedic level service, right? So Birchwood is IV tech sometimes, right? So when you get cardiac calls and anything like that, you know, we go to all of those calls because paramedics on board we can interpret 12 leads. We can make decisions on those kind of things that a smaller service can't. You know, so if it's a call in Sawyer County, I want to be paged to it. I mean, now Birchwood can call us off, but, you know, as a paramedic level provider, it'd be like, you know, if going from a small hospital to a big hospital, right?
Yeah.
You know, you want to go to the bigger hospital because they got the better equipment, they got the higher trained staff. I have no problem if they call us off for stuff, and multiple ambulances go to different calls all the time. Especially, you know, if we had a cardiac call in Sawyer County and it was like really bad, like both of our ambulances will go to it. Like the Hayward crew and the Ojibwa crew will go to it, because then we'll get 2 medics on board, and then we can intubate someone if they needed to be intubated. We can do a lot of stuff that a lot of services around us can't. You know, so because we are the paramedic provider, we are a higher level provider, we need to get paged to all calls in Sawyer County. Now, and like I said, if they needed to call us off, they can call us off, right? But,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just trying to understand this more,
Yeah.
Mr. Frimmel, and they're just my questions. And,
Yep.
but anyway, anybody else have any questions for John?
I forgot.
You did?
Yeah, Austin.
Could have been important. All right, John, thank you for all your information here. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So, number 14, Criminal Justice Coordinating Council update.
I don't have an update. I was not.
Okay. All right.
Judge Isham's here.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, Judge Isham, you want anything you want to talk to us about?
Sure. So we've gone, I think what month is it? It's March. So we're about 2 months into, our recovery court, program. We still have, just the one participant holding it down for everybody, but, we should have, this week and next week, we've got a couple assessments to complete for some others, and then they should be ready for sentencing so that they can be also included in the recovery court program. We're starting to see a lot more buy-in with that from defense attorneys, and so I'm thinking that we should, I think our next actual court day is next week. And I think we probably will have, if it's not just the one again, then it would probably be about 3 right now, and it's going well so far. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, otherwise everything seems to be going pretty well. I think that we're processing through cases a lot quicker. We're kind of seeing a little downtick in our scheduling, so that tells me that we're getting through the backlog a little bit. And I'm still seeing some random old cases come through, but for the most part, they're within the last year or two. So that's a huge progression. And so I think that obviously this 2-judge system is working out pretty well for our county, and it's looking good so far.
Well, they know if they gotta come up against you, you scare them, so they.
Yes, I'm very scary.
No. You guys have any questions for Judge Isham?
So you're getting pretty comfortable in there.
I comfortable. I don't know if that's the right word. I mean, I think that I definitely am less surprised by a lot of things that I have to deal with, but I swear I learn something new every single day, which of course is a good thing. But yeah, no, I think that the months go by in a weird way for me, but it's March now. So I think that's like 7 months that I've been on, 7, 8 months.
Well,
It'll be
moving fast.
Yeah. It didn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, it's going really well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. All right. Number 15, future agenda items. Anybody got anything they want to put on next month's agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
do you want to keep on the repeating courthouse update, or should that come off?
I don't think we need that on there anymore, do we, Andy? No, you take that off. So. All right, number 16, correspondence reports from conferences and other meetings. If not, number 17, there's no more business. I want to thank everybody for all the information and Judge Isham for showing up and giving us a report. If there's no more, we are adjourned. Thank you.